Just thinking about balance, I think one of the things that is really interesting and that we can always think about is like, what is my perspective on balance? And when we talk about balance, we've been talking about how do I balance my day to day life? How do I balance my workload? How do I balance my family? How do I balance my friends? Things of that nature. And these are things that will inevitably never change, right? They consistently will have to shift and maneuver as you grow, right? Going from college, where like college is your whole universe. I think I was talking to Elise about this, but I was like, once you graduate college, every day is just about a final, right? So every day you're in a final space and you're just consistently having some type of final, right? If it's maybe a slow week where it's only one final, maybe it's a fast week where every single day is a final, right? So it just depends where you are right now. Like for me right now, every day has been a final because we have so much stuff going on with Derek's brand and the wine shop, and almost every single day has been something that's going on. So I am looking forward to this break so I can sleep in and get some rest, watch some movies, play some video games, enjoy myself. Thinking about balance, I want us to think about our perspective, right? What is like a idea or a vision for your balance? So what I want us to do is we're going to close our eyes and we're going to look into, this is a great exercise. Y'all should do this. This is what I do every morning. I close my eyes. I look into my brain, and your brain will give you a vision, right? For me, spiritually, this is a time for prayer and meditation. So I believe that God is going to give me a vision. You might believe the universe, but anything that is given to you, it comes from within. So always remember that. So close your eyes. What does a balanced lifestyle look like to you? So let's take a few seconds. What are some of the first things that come to your mind? We're going to take like 2 minutes. All right. All right. So I don't want you to say anything. I want you to hold it. So remember what that balance looked like for you. All right. I want us to do a quick activity. On the count of 3, I want us to all do one clap. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was good. See, even with the fade, that was pretty good. All right, cool. Now, the next activity we're going to do is think of your favorite song. Adele just dropped an album, so I don't know if that fits my tempo, but I haven't heard any of her songs yet. But think of your favorite song and think of the tempo of that song. And we are going to clap that tempo on the count of 3. Are you ready? You got your song? Cool. So 1, 2, 3. Clap your tempo, your song. Right, let's stop. That's very chaotic, right? So the reason that I asked you all to do that is when we think about balance and we think about our lives and we think about how that should look, a lot of the times we have someone on social media showing balance, right? We have our favorite celebrity showing balance. We have all these examples, and that balance sounds like that clap, right? It's all these different examples that you see where it's like, oh, this looks like balance, or this looks like balance, or this looks like balance, or this looks like balance. And that's why I wanted you all first to visualize it for yourself, because so many times we can get distracted by what other people say balance is, and that is our perspective on balance. But if we were honest with ourselves, that's not what balance is for us, right? We need to really internally understand what balance is for us. And that's one of the most important things. So that's why I wanted you to think of what is that perspective on balance. And I want you all to share that in your meetings. We'll come back to that. But a few quick things that I want to run through that I think can help you all in balancing. And in these conversations, as you know, I'm never going to tell you what to do or what balance looks like for you, but I'll give you some ideas that have helped me. I would say our number one thing is assessing what is most near and dear to you. And what I mean by this is more so like what affects your balance or your mindset or trying to get something done. For me, it's peace of mind, right? I know if I'm scrolling on Instagram a lot and I'm trying to get work done, doing that makes me fatigued and it gives me a headache after a while because I'm constantly just looking at stuff. So I know that's one of the things that affects my like state of mind. I know people are another thing that affects my state of mind, right? I know that making sure I pray and meditate in the morning is something that helps me feel very centered and balanced. And then making sure that I'm around loved ones is something that can make me feel good and help me feel centered and balanced. So that second thing, all those things that I listed off was how do I protect my peace of mind, right? And those are some of the things that we talked about. For me, cutting outside noise is another one. That's why I wake up super early. It's super quiet so I can hear my thoughts and be one with my thoughts in the morning. So that's something that I know is important, cutting out noise, especially living in a big city like Chicago. I hear so much stuff all the time and it's annoying sometimes, but I love it because it's a city. So number two thing is how do you protect your balance? So what I listed was the ways that I protect my balance with prayer and meditation in the morning, my circle of friends, cutting out noises, social media, waking up early, talking with the right people. And then the next thing is how do I master that balance, right? And when we think of this idea of mastery, it seems very overwhelming, but it's not, right? The one thing I think that is so important is like trying shit out, right? Like you got to try it out to see if it works or if it doesn't work. And that's something that I think we don't always do necessarily, where we don't try it out. So like for me, when I talked about social media affecting it, I knew that was one of the things that affected my peace of mind because I would like cut out social media for a week and my headspace would be in a different space, right? Or I would cut out listening to depressing love songs or things of that nature, or cut out fried foods or exercise in the morning and test out those things to see, okay, how does this affect my personality, my state of mind, my creativity in the space that I'm in? And I think that's something that's really, really important. And then from trying stuff out, that's where you can start to develop a plan. So what is that plan that you want to set? How do you want to organize your life from that? If you know, like, okay, I can't do social media in the morning and otherwise that's going to put me in a depressing state or it's going to put me in a comparison state, I'm not going to do social media for the first 4 hours of my day, right? So like testing those things out that you tried and then starting to implement it in your day to day. For me, I know when I wake up early, I don't touch my phone, or I try not to touch my phone because then my anxiety comes up because people are constantly texting me, asking me for things, trying to get stuff done. So I don't look at my phone during those first few hours of the day to set my mind straight on what the rest of the day looks like. So for you, that might look a little different. One of the things that I thought was interesting is I looked up, and it's very, I don't know if this is all 100% correct, but it says it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? So that's how you know you can start to build into a plan and a habit for yourself. But it also says it could take 18 to 254 days as well. So, try it out and see what works for you in developing that plan. And one of the reasons why I think developing a plan where you can like pace yourself is so important is because you'll get so much further along rather than like trying to run into it. Running, when you think of this idea of running versus like walking in a specific pace, when you're running, you can only run for so many like moments, right? If you ran your whole life, you would literally die. You can't do that at all. That's not physically possible. But if you are decisive in your steps and you're walking in a certain path and a purpose for you, it makes it more effective because you can get more done in that space. And that more is up to whatever you justify as what you want to get done. The next thing you have to always think about is being gentle and kind to yourself while developing this plan, because a lot of times we develop a plan and we'll get like really hard on one another or one on ourselves and just be like, oh, I messed up. I didn't wake up at 4 a.m. Like today, did not wake up at 4 a.m. But not going to let that put me in a bad spiral. I'm just going to be like, okay, I didn't wake up at 4 a.m., but what can I still do when I woke up at 5 or 6 and like work on that space and work with the time that was given to me for the day. So making sure you're gentle and you're kind to yourself and figuring out what being gentle and kind to yourself even looks like. And that's another part, right? Going back to that idea of trying. And then the last thing I think, which is so important, is taking a day to rest. That actually came up in one of the Have a Map episodes we were editing. And I think it's so important to take one day to like not do anything. And that's another part of it. Trying, what does that look like for you? What does rest look like for you? Some people say vacation looks like rest. If you go on vacation with my family, that is not rest because we're doing stuff every single day. So, figure that out for you. For me, I know like on my Sundays, still do my prayer meditation, might do like yoga or something of that nature. But on top of that, might play my favorite video game because that makes me happy, right? So, what is that thing that makes you happy and you're able to do that? And just setting some type of schedule to it. It doesn't have to be a strict schedule, but figuring out what works best for you and what helps. For some of you all, you're in a very creative space. So like, that if I want to be in my best creative space, these are the things that I need. So setting yourself up for that, I think, is also important as well. So going back over the 6 things that we put here, talked about assessing what's most near and dear to you. How do I protect this? How do I master / try it out, develop a plan and stick to it, be gentle and kind to yourself, and then taking a day to rest. Okay.